I remember getting this through my agent sending it to me and reading the script and hearing, like, seeing the name attached of Ridley Scott, like, coming to TV, like it's his debut TV show. And I remember the first thought that, like, kind of went into my head was like, I'm not getting this. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, no. And I remember then sending in the tape, thinking like, this isn't gonna happen, but I'll send it in anyway. A boy can dream. And yeah, and then I was flying from America from the time, and I remember landing in the UK and getting a voicemail from my agent being like, yeah, Ridley wants to meet you tomorrow. I was like, what?
Welcome to this very special BAFTA event. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Shay Thompson, and we're going to be catching up with the talented powerhouse that is Abu Salim. You might recognize him as Bayek from Assassin's Creed Origins, or for his most recent role in HBO's Raised by Wolves. He's also gone on to found his own game studio, which we will hear some more about in just a bit. So we're going to be chatting it up for about 45 minutes and then ending the session with a Q&A. So if you've got any questions, be sure to drop them in the chat for later on. So we're going to jump straight into it. Abu, thank you so much for chatting with me tonight. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, we're in quite a discombobulating time, but it's quite crazy, but it's good. I'm good. I'm in a really good place.
I mean, I love to hear it. I love to hear it. I love to see it, all of the things. So, jumping straight into it, for those who might not know, could you talk to us about where all of this began, where the journey started at the very beginning?
I mean, well, when my mum and dad met each other. No, no. You know what? It's funny. It's kind of how I got into the industry is a weird one, because it was actually through the love of games and through that sort of medium of storytelling through that. As a kid, I kind of watched a lot of trying to watch TV and film, and it didn't really resonate or connect with me, but actually it was through games and through actually playing a character and going through their journey that kind of really resonated with me. And so from that kind of sparked this love of storytelling that actually ended up leading me to look into acting and to look into the actual idea of, telling stories, or, doing the same, generating that same feeling that I felt into a medium in which I feel that I could connect with audiences as well. So yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of, really where it all began, I'd say. But yeah, now I'm here running a studio, which is quite wild and exciting at the same time. And also, doing all the acting stuff as well, which is incredible and such a brilliant experience. So yeah.
It's all very, very inspiring. So, talking about like Assassin's Creed, Assassin's Creed Origins was a hallmark game for 2017. Like, what was it like being cast in that role? And, like later on, we will get into like, using the medium of games as a storytelling tool. But yeah, talk to us about that role as Bayek.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a dream come true, because again, I remember the feeling of playing like the first Assassin's Creed, and I always say this, and just being so blown away by the world, and I was an avid fan. I was buying the games every year, making sure that was the game that I'd put on the list to get and buy and play whenever it was like the school holidays or whatever. And it was quite mad to think that, oh wow, I'm gonna be like the 10th, 11th assassin in this genre that I've followed and religiously like studied so much of as a kid, and there was a point where I remember even in production, like I was telling the team about like the Templars and about the assassins, and then about, all the different characters and the actual history of it all. And I just remember like, yeah, this is my jam. Like it was quite wild. And like still even to this day, I would even say like, playing that character, because of the actual weight it meant to me, it's hard to top. It's really hard to top. And it's still there, that feeling, that sort of sense of almost coming full circle in a weird way. It was wild. It was so wild.
And that's something you see in the performance, that kind of palpable passion that you have for games. Like I mean, whenever I'm in a room with you, even now, I'm just like, oh man, I want to play Origins again.
Yeah,
Like
you know what I
it's
mean?
yeah, it's amazing. So
Yes.
that, and like you said, another full circle moment. Coming back to it, so you are now in a Ridley Scott production, which is just
Yeah.
like absolutely insane. Like, talk to us about that entire experience, because
Yeah.
that must have been an ordeal. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, like again, it was. I think I just finished off like another TV show where I was playing like a it was like a regular in, and I remember getting this through my agent sending it to me and reading the script and hearing, like, seeing the name attached of Ridley Scott, like, coming to TV, like it's his debut TV show. And I remember the first thought that, like, kind of went into my head was like, I'm not getting this. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, no. And I remember then sending in the tape, thinking like, this isn't gonna happen, but I'll send it in anyway. A boy can dream. And yeah, and then I was flying from America from the time, and I remember landing in the UK and getting a voicemail from my agent being like, yeah, Ridley wants to meet you tomorrow. I was like, what? So yeah, I mean, it was a wild experience, and the whole thing, it's actually been incredibly life-changing in both professionally as well as personally, from what I gained from that job, and just mainly from seeing from the people and the cast and the actual creatives and the crew. Like, it really gave me the confidence in actually taking that chance to just put myself out there and really start making and generating my own stuff. I mean, yeah, it was life-changing, and it was incredible. And Ridley's just a lovely guy, and it was just so brilliant to see an actual genius at work, and just the hard work and commitment and love that he has for the craft was really inspiring. So
yeah, it's just awesome to hear, and I have no doubt that must have been like so inspiring for you as you've now gone on to your own to found your own studio,
yeah.
which we will hear some more about in just a
Mm.
bit. So could you actually talk a little bit about the show for people who are watching, who are unaware? Like, talk to us about the show and
Yeah,
your
sure.
character father in particular.
Yeah. So I mean, like, look, so the show basically, and I hope it comes to the UK. It should come to the UK sometime so everyone can see. But what it's about is it explores the idea of these two androids who are programmed with raising children on a distant planet because Earth has been destroyed. And I play father, who is tasked with mother to raise these children. And basically, what it really explores is the idea of what it means to be human, even as an android, and emotions, and can AI truly feel? Can they raise children? What it means to raise children. It's about connection, relationships, and it even explores the idea of belief. And I think that's what was so fascinating about this show, because it's a sci-fi, but that's almost like the extra added bit. It really isn't. It's like that's the world it's in. It's not necessarily like the running thing of like, oh yeah, and we're doing all these like fighting aliens and stuff. Like, it's genuinely about human emotion and connection. And I think that was what was so exciting about the project, and what's so brilliant about what Aaron wrote, was it really was just about being human. And we go on this this wild journey throughout the series. I know that it's all of the episodes are out in on HBO Max now, but it is such a journey, and it's such a world that Aaron has created, and Ridley visually as well, that it really feels like it's something I've never seen before. And that's the thing, like, I'm a massive sci-fi nerd. Like, I love that kind of stuff, but this was something that I remember thinking, like, I've never seen anything like this before. And it's again testament to the creators of the show, and to the actors, and to the crew.
I mean, and I want to watch it right now. I'm like, why is it not available for me to watch? This sounds amazing. Because I love like taking something like, you know, that like sci-fi that is so thematic and that stuff almost being secondary to the story, which is at its core. And yeah,
Yeah.
like that really speaks to me, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that's what's so great about it is that also it doesn't feel like when you look at Earth or when they show Earth, it isn't the Earth that we know of today. It's like that's what's so again brilliant about what they've done is that it feels almost like another Earth. And it's like all these things are so brilliantly woven within the story that it becomes a universe of its own. And I think that's why it's very exciting and why it was such a brilliant piece of work to be on, because we were building a universe that was, you know, from the ground up, and it felt really cool.